So you want to tone up, but you're afraid that lifting weight will make you look bulky. Let's talk about what happens when you start going to the gym and what to do if you are feeling a little bit bulkier than you'd like and just want that lean physique. Don't forget that this video is also available in podcast. Here are the chapters for this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. I get it. When you think about weightlifting, you see this or maybe that. The idea that weightlifting will make you bulky is so wrong, especially for women. What most people see when they think about weightlifting is athletes and bodybuilders who have been going to the gym consistently for years, have had a very specific training plan, very specific nutrition plan, and potentially did take some supplements and other enhancers. Trust me, you will not look like a bodybuilder after taking a couple dumbbells. I have been lifting weights for years and I don't think that I look like The Rock. Do I? No. Why won't weightlifting make you look bulky? It is actually really difficult for women to build muscles. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, and a lot of food. Probably way more than you're eating right now. Most women don't have the hormonal level, especially testosterone, required to gain a huge amount of muscle. Now, that does not mean that when you start going to the gym, you will not build any lean body mass, because actually when you are a beginner, you're more likely to build some muscle. So yes, I get the point that you will build some, just not enough to look like this. And now that we've busted the myth, let's talk about why lifting weights is one of the best things you can do for your body. First things first, instead of making you look bulky, weightlifting will actually help you build some lean body mass that helps you tone up, get leaner, and build some muscle definition. When you lift weights, you're burning more calories during but also at rest. So that means that your metabolism, aka the calories burned throughout the day, is actually increasing because you're lifting weight. And so the higher the metabolism, the easier it is going to be for you to burn fat as a result. Plus, it's good to know that as we age, we are going to lose some muscle mass and bone density, which makes it more likely for us to get injured and lose independence, flexibility, range of movement. So building muscles prevents you from getting there to an extent. Strength training preventively helps you build that lean body mass so you don't lose as much because you've built some on top of it, but it will also keep your bones strong by increasing bone density, again, to an extent. Overall, that reduces the risk of fractures and injuries and helps you stay more independent longer. This is especially important for women who are more prone to actually lose muscle mass and bone density as we age. Building muscle can also be really beneficial for those with conditions like PCOS or even diabetes, because building muscle actually helps you with insulin resistance, sensitivity, and overall balance hormones. So that can lead to a better management of the symptoms, right? For example, for people with diabetes, especially type 2, building muscle can actually help you control blood sugar better, because muscle do require glucose for energy. So it really is a really powerful tool for a lot of conditions out there. And let's not forget about mental health, because when you work out, especially when you lift weight, your body does produce endorphins. So basically that's the feel-good hormone. It reduces stress, anxiety, and overall makes you feel better. Plus, there is nothing like this confidence boost when you actually lift heavier. My clients all see a big self-esteem boost within weeks of starting the gym. Now, here is my favorite part about muscles. It is metabolically active, which means that, as I've mentioned a bit earlier, at rest, you burn more calories if you have more lean body mass. That means that it's easier to burn fat because it's easier to be in a deficit, but it's also easier to maintain that weight loss. And I mean, who does not want to eat more to maintain the weight you're happy with? Let's talk about something that can be a little bit frustrating when you start lifting weight, is the scale not going down despite being good with your workouts and eating healthy, right? Again, I want to go back to this comment. It's really important to first understand why it happens. When you start lifting weights, if you are in a calorie deficit, more on that later, you actually start losing fat, but also, as I mentioned, if you're a beginner, you will build some muscle mass way easier than if you've been lifting weight for ages. But here is the thing, muscle is more dense than fat, which means that it takes less room in your body, but it will still be heavier, and that's why you may actually see no changes whatsoever on the scale. But if you take into account other forms of progress, like maybe measurements or pictures or how you feel or what you look and specific clothes, you might actually notice that you will be leaner without the scale actually moving down. So don't get discouraged, because this is actually a good thing. The heavier you weigh, the more food you can eat to maintain that new body. And what is happening here is body recomposition, when you lose fat and build muscle at the same time, but no change on the scale. Because if you lose 1 pound of fat, for example, but gain 1 pound of muscle, it will show differently on your figure, but nothing different on the scale. So you will still look more toned, stronger, leaner without seeing a change. That's why I really recommend you track your measurements like this client does, for example, especially if you tend to be skinny fat and have less weight to lose, because you won't see that big of a difference on the scale, but are more likely to see difference in measurements. So if you lose inches but nothing changes on the scale, it's actually a good sign. It means you are losing fat, building muscle at the same time. Something I have noticed is that most of my clients, well, all of my clients come in with a weight goal in mind, but as they lose fat and build muscle, they actually end up realizing that their dream body is heavier than what they thought it was going to be, as seen here. And that is all thanks to the muscles. Now, let's talk about what you can do, right? Because sometimes the scale might not go down because you are not in deficit, you may be in maintenance or even in surplus. And that I totally get, right? Because when you do start lifting weights, you are a little hungrier sometimes, because when you go to the gym and actually do the exercises, you break down the muscles, so you do need a little bit more food to help build them back up and fuel them appropriately. So now that is not going to mean that you will automatically gain more weight if you do feel that you've been hungrier, but that's a good thing to be aware of, and could be a potential cause / issue as to why you have not been able to see the scale go down despite working out at the gym. So let's talk about what you could do to lose fat. As a beginner, it might be really frustrating, so I'm gonna sort of mention the common mistakes and how to fix them so you can really achieve the toned look. Quick break while I'm editing. I've noticed that most people who watch this channel actually are not subscribed, so please, it would mean the world to me if you could help me reverse these statistics. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the video. I did make an entire video on how to get your dream body based on the dream body you have, because there are multiple types of bodies out there, so you may want to check it out after this video. Back to the point I was making earlier, if you started the gym and have been eating a bit more, you may end up being in caloric surplus, meaning gaining weight. The first step in order to lose fat and see a difference on the scale is to be in a deficit. Any calorie calculator online will do. You just want to enter your height, weight, age, and level of activity. It's going to give you a RAF number, which is going to be a good approximation of what your body may be burning every single day, accounting for your activity level as well. It might not be perfect, but it's still a good starting point. Then you do -10 or 15%, and that will be your deficit. The goal is to lose 1 or 2 pounds per week, so it's ideal to track that every week, a couple times per week, and adjust your intake. This is where you'll see if the number you found is a good number. If you lose less than a pound, maybe you can be a bit more in a deficit. If you lose more, definitely need to increase your intake, but you also want to take into account, you know, being on your periods and, you know, what you ate the day before, ovulation time and so on. All of that comes into play as well in terms of your weight, so you want to be mindful of that. It can take, you know, 2 to 3 weeks to actually play with the number until you find the right one. Now remember that calorie deficit means eating less calories than you consume, but that does not mean to starve yourself. Otherwise, you may lose muscle mass, and that lowers your metabolism and does a shit ton of damage as well. So you definitely don't want to go below the 15%. I really have found that to be the optimal deficit to get results like this. So you want to have that ideal sweet spot calorie deficit to ensure you lose fat and not muscle. Now, again, if you are feeling hungrier as a result to going to the gym, what you need to do is eat nutrient-dense food, high in proteins, high in fiber, stuff that will make you feel fuller for longer. And that is a nice transition to actually talk about protein, because it is so key as well. I have an entire video on macros, but let's really dive into the protein intake, why it's important, how much you should eat, and so on. What I always tell my clients is that calorie deficit will work for weight loss, and then the protein intake for fat loss. So that really are the two main metrics you have to have in check to actually see results. On top of the workouts, don't overcomplicate it. Deficit, protein, that's it. First things first, protein is literally what your muscles are made of. And as I said, when you lift weight, you actually tear the muscle fibers. And that means that your body will need protein to actually repair those muscles. So this means that your muscles are gonna go stronger, more defined, and grow a little bit over time. And without enough protein, your body won't actually be able to properly recover, and you won't really see the progress that you're working for. So as I said, protein keeps you fuller for longer. That is because it actually takes more energy for the body to break it down. If you think about it, you're burning more calories by eating more protein. That's a pro tip. It just makes it so much easier to actually be in a calorie deficit when you have a high protein intake. Even if your goal isn't to build muscle, making sure you get enough protein is still really important to maintain it, especially when you're in a calorie deficit, because when you are, your body can be a little bit more tempted to eat those muscle and take that protein from the muscles, and that's when you lose muscle mass, and therefore your metabolism go down, because as I said, muscles are metabolically active, and that just makes it harder for you to be in a deficit, and so you just have to eat less, and it's just a vicious cycle of eating less and just metabolism going down. So eat your protein. Now obviously let's talk about how much you should be eating. I want you to start at 1.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, especially if you're not someone who eats a lot of protein in the first place, and then build that up to 1.8, maybe 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. The reason why you don't want to go from maybe 60 grams of protein to 150 is because, as I said, it is harder for the body to digest it, so you may feel a little bit bloated or experience some type of digestive discomfort. And now let's talk about the type of workouts that you may want to do if you want to look lean and not bulky, even though, you know, refer back to the beginning of the video. You want to focus on a mix of strength training and cardio. Weightlifting is going to be great for that muscle mass and that metabolism, but cardio is great for burning calories, especially HIIT. So it's really about finding a balance, and what I would recommend if you're a beginner is to start with 2 full body workouts that you can do at home with 2 dumbbells, no problem, and maybe 1 cardio session. And as you get better and as it gets easier for you, you can build to 2 cardio sessions, and then maybe 3 full body, and then maybe you can move to upper and lower split and maintain the 2 cardio sessions. What is really key is 1 to 2 rest days. Rest is so important for your fat loss journey, for your muscles, for your body, for everything. The goal will also be to try to lift heavier as you go. Progressive overload is very important as well, because you want to keep on challenging your muscle, have challenging sessions if you want to keep on building your muscle mass and burning calories as well. If you're doing really easy exercises, your heart rate is just going to stay the same or not be that much elevated, so you're not going to burn calories. So there you have it. Lifting weight will not make you look bulky unless you want it and you have a proper nutrition plan and workout plan, and potentially now, if you need a little bit of help to get to your dream body without making your life a nightmare, I would absolutely love to help you. Book a free consultation call with me below. It's completely free, just to see if and how I can support you. And if I can, I will 100% welcome you into my program. I've done it myself. My clients are doing it as well and seeing incredible results, so why not you? And yeah, that was pretty much the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. You know, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!